It's great to be back with you for the Caleb and John show. I'm sitting in an almost empty room, and we'll come back to that in a minute, but we thought we'd give you an update on what's happening, where we're off to tomorrow, at least Laura and myself, and what's been happening around us these last few months. God has been so good, and I think it's really important for each of us to remember and to praise Him for His goodness. Life isn't always very easy, but it's much easier when we keep our eyes on the Lord and we remember His goodness and we see what He's done. So why are we sitting in an almost empty room? We emptied it, in fact, today. Curtains are down, furniture's moved. The only thing really left is this couch, because we're going to give this room a facelift. Caleb will give it another note in a moment, but we've lived in this building for 40 years now, and God has blessed us in the most beautiful part of the world and a part of this beautiful city of Nice. And we have been recording, in May will be 5 years, so we've done over 4.5 years of recording. And so this front room has become our studio. Caleb.
Hi, everybody. Hi. So,
we have great pleasure of working together. Last night we were talking about all we needed to get done today, and spoke most of the evening. It's just wonderful to work together and do something that touches people's lives.
yeah, last night we ended up, I think it was like 40 minutes or so that we ended up talking, but it was totally not what I was expecting it to go, the conversation, and it was actually brilliant. What you up to?
Well, I'm excited about what's going to happen because we leave early. Yeah, we're just trying something different as well. So if we lost the vision, there we go. So we have two cameras on us, and I'm not used to holding a microphone either.
Do you know that
Usually
we
when I
actually
do
had no volume? We
Ah.
had no sound this whole time. Oh, we're doing
tell
great.
us?
Huh?
Did someone tell us?
No, nobody told us. I just realized it.
Okay, so we'll start again.
Nah, we can just keep on talking. I love this.
Well, tell me when I can start again with sound.
With sound. Technically now we have sound.
Okay, so give me a countdown and I'll start.
A countdown. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
So it's the greatest show. Caleb and John Madan coming to you from Nice, France, and we're in an almost empty room, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We thought we should give you an update on God's goodness because so much has been happening these last few weeks and months. And tomorrow, Laura and I leave for the States. I'll take more of that in a moment. But we're in this empty room because we've been filming live videos for 4.5 years now from here. Now we've lived in this building for 40 years. We celebrate in September arriving in Nice 40 years ago. But over 4.5 years ago, we started filming lives, and I became an influencer, which is really funny when you're 65 years old and suddenly you realize you're influencing probably more people now than I ever have before. And what's amazing is, because I was always a talker, for those that may know me well, I've always been able to talk. I've always talked. Every teacher put in my yearly report that I talk too much, in fact. But what's amazing, when I invited Jesus to be the Lord of my life, he actually gave me something to say that helps people. And it's thrilling that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do a live video, 15 minutes, and have lots of people listening to us live, and then even more, normally within the next 2 or 3 days, could be several hundred, often 400, sometimes it goes to 1,000 people, and we get so many wonderful comments back of how the Word of God and the testimonies that we have shared have encouraged them. And this is our goal, because God told us, Laura and I, 44 years ago, that we were called to encourage others. So to be doing it now in French to the French and the French-speaking world is thrilling. So we thought it was time to redo the room. The curtains are gone, the furniture's gone. There's probably a little bit of an echo because of it. And I'm quite excited because we get back in 3.5 weeks. And then
I can talk too.
Are you going to talk too?
I'll talk in a bit.
Okay. And well, maybe Cable can tell you exactly what he thinks he's going to do. But he's really good at doing this. We're not. In fact, we travel so much that when we come home, it's lovely to come home to the same home. So we're always very slow about doing anything. An example, this is the first new couch that we've ever bought. We've always inherited couches or bought from people moving second-hand couches. And we said a few years ago, we need to have a new couch. And we went out and bought a new couch. But otherwise, we just love to come home to where God called us. And yeah, it's wonderful. So I'm quite excited to come back in 3.5 weeks and see all that he has done. And then all the people that are watching us will see it.
All that he has done.
All that you've done. Well, in fact,
all that he has done.
He's not doing it. He's overseeing it because we're employing a professional
contractor
to do the work.
With a full team that are going to come here and redo all this. We're going to redo these walls, redo the ceiling, redo all the electrical, the lighting, and try to make it better, improve for long term. So we can film, record, produce even better content. And it's going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because besides the morning shows we do, I call it morning shows, we do it at 7:15 in the morning here. Though the majority of people watch it, as I said, during the day and the next few days. We also do a lot of Zoom meetings. We teach in different schools live from here, and in fact have some of our family who are teachers as well come here and teach. So this room is very, very much used. We also have the joy of counseling people many times. Lots of our graduates from the Bible training campuses have asked us to mentor them. Some are pastors, some are working with youth, trying to think of different people. And so we spend quite a lot of time online mentoring them. So this is quite an important place. God has done some major things here. Anyway, so did you want to talk anything more about what we're doing in the room?
About what we're doing in the room?
Yeah.
Basically, we're redoing it brand new. So it's renovations, making it clean.
Mm-hmm. Now we changed the windows and we changed the floor a few years ago, so they don't have to touch that. We just have to get.
You're so.
I know. I'm much more used to getting out a Bible verse or sharing a something that's happened in my life and explaining how God brought us through something or did something. So it's a little different for me to share like this. I think Caleb's better at it than I am, so I'll let you share a little bit.
Me?
Yeah. What have we been doing recently? Because you came with us to Paris.
So we had the graduation of Rema Paris. Mm-hmm. Flew up there. Amazing team that's up there that's getting it all sorted. Yeah. And we just have to show up, tweak sometimes some stuff, and just encourage and have a blast. Mm-hmm. But it's also so encouraging to see what God is doing there and doing in other places, because we get to rejoice And yeah, it's also frustrating at moments because people do things so differently than how you can envision it, how you see it. But at the end of the day, was the name of Jesus lifted up? Who are we doing this for? What is going to be the impact? And mainly with the Bible schools, it's sowing seeds, it's planting seeds, and we have no clue with some what they will be doing. And some what they are actually already doing. And sometimes we have an idea of it and we realize that, oh, whoa, there's so much more. And that's how God is.
Yeah.
He does so much more.
Yeah.
You got some cool stuff about graduates and
I got some very cool stuff. So it was our fifth graduation in Paris, the largest graduation that we've done in Paris, and in fact the largest of the 22 graduations we've done since we started the schools in 2007. We actually at this time have 3 campuses running with over 135 students. So it was a large graduation. It was a wonderful moment, celebrating the men and women who've invested 3 years of their lives training, and then some of them, the other half, so because there was 38, I think, that graduated, and 37 that received a certificate because they finished 18 months. So they're continuing. And it was great having Caleb because he came and did a live, and everyone loves it when he comes because he's such a cheery guy, and I mean he just brings so much joy to things. It was a thrilling time, and then 2 weeks later, so we just back this weekend, we opened a new class. So the 37 who finished had 3 more added who had done their first half and hadn't continued.
We're talking about new students.
We're talking about Paris, yeah.
Yes, but we're talking about...
No, I'm talking about those that are doing the diploma.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So they're 40 now in the second cycle, and then they're 41, but it sounds like there are 3 more coming. So we're going to have 44. It's going to be our biggest class. And I got to teach them foundations of faith, and absolutely thrilling to see how hungry and thirsty these men and women are for the Word of God. I just get blown away. I don't know if you live the same thing, because I've always been thrilled about God because He changed my life, and always been hungry. With Laura, we stay hungry. But to see other people from different places, different backgrounds that are hungry thrills my life. I'll give you a story of one called Brian. He came 18 months ago from New Caledonia. I don't know if you know what that is. Well, if you go to Australia and then out to New Zealand, then continue into the middle of the ocean, it's over 10,000 miles away from there. And he came because his pastor told him, I want you to go to Rhema in Paris and come back and bring Rhema to the islands. Because he decided he was going to Bible school anyway. And I thought I'd gone a long way, going from London to Tulsa, immigrating to America to do Rhema, but it wasn't even 5,000 miles, and he's done over 10,000 miles. Well, the exciting thing is we've just opened this new class, and there are 4 more from the islands that have come. Now, just a little bit of French, I don't know how to explain that. If you're born in New Caledonia, which is over 10,000 miles away, okay, which is 16,500 kilometers, you're French. I mean, he's French national. And these guys, 3 guys and a girl arrived, never been to the mainland, I'll call it, to France before. Absolutely freezing, because it's French Polynesia, New Caledonia. Most of them wear grass skirts and not much else. I mean, it's like it's warm all year round, and they were in Paris, and it was a freezing weekend. But just to see how hungry all these young men and young women, and some aren't so young, who are coming from all across France to study, it's thrilling. And this weekend was very unusual, because I believe it's the first time in all these 17 years since we started French-speaking Rhema Bible training colleges that we had every campus working at the same time, and our teachers were teaching in each campus. So in Haiti, Mark McCord was teaching. In Quebec, Pat, who is one of our our teachers and a pastor in Paris. He was teaching, and then my brother was having the students in Switzerland preach, and then in Kinshasa, Congo, Timo Anzalone, one of our teachers, was preaching. So we had over 500 students all in class on Friday at the same time, and our hearts are just overjoyed. We started with just a few students in France and in Quebec back in 2007 to see what God has done. And I think that's what thrills my heart. And Caleb said, what about what our graduates are doing? And more and more of them are being recognized by their churches. They're becoming associate pastors or youth leaders or assistant pastors. And it's just thrilling. They set apart this time of their life. At one point it was 2 years, now it's 3 years. And they've been faithfully serving in their churches, some of them for several years since. And the pastors and the denominations have seen what a blessing they are. So for me, that's thrilling. I don't know. I'm not talking too much. You're not even saying anything here. What do you have to say? You have much better things to say than me.
That's nice.
Yeah, well, it's true.
All right. So we are currently in the room that we record all our recordings in.
Yeah.
Well, basically all. We have another setup. But we're going to be redoing all of this, getting this all sorted so that it's all clean and that we're able to produce even more content, which makes it pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Can you see him? He's so cute. He's so cute. No, we're doing good. And on some of the stuff, it's actually figuring out what is the need for this this place, because we want to build and make sure that we're aiming for long term. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. But it's also having the wisdom of saying what do we actually need and what actually isn't needed. And with this equipment, it's figuring it out. With the installations, it's figuring it out. But also we want to get it done nice, clean, and for long term. So it's making it to a space that's even more usable and feasible. One of my goals is to actually be able to film and have a round table, which we actually have, and just be able to film some talks that we do have. And it's exciting. And I'm going on a rant. Rants are fun sometimes. I don't know what to say, really.
Yeah, Caleb,
I'm content.
Caleb's really, really strong on the technical side, but I call him my creative director.
Sometimes.
Because when we started doing these lives, so I do 15 minutes. The format is very, very simple. The goal is to encourage people to read their Bible, to put their Bible into practice, to believe that God has got something for them to do, that they can be overcomers. And at the beginning, I just would share a little bit of this and a little bit of that and share some scriptures. I love putting scriptures together and building. I've always loved putting sermons together. And in the last few years, Caleb says, I think you should talk about this. So I would say to him, so what scriptures? Which story should I tell? And he's much more creative than me. And he reminds me that we've promised our listeners, I'll call them listeners, because he's also, it's not just on YouTube, it's also on podcasts, so people listen to it. In fact, some people contact me and said, I just found you on this site. So I didn't know I was on it, but Kev said, yeah, you've been on it for a while. It's thrilling because there's so many means today where people can hear good things, and you're probably aware there's a lot of stuff out there that isn't so encouraging. People who are trying to lift themselves up or who are more confusing than helping. And we decided very, very early on, we want to lift up Jesus, because he said, if I'm lifted up, I'll draw all men to me. And we know that Jesus saved us. Jesus has helped us grow up, and people need to get to know Jesus. I mean, to know us is great, and we can have a lot of fun getting to know people, but if they get to know Jesus, that really changes their life.
Yeah, but also one of the things that we've been talking about lately is we never know who's watching. Mm-hmm. Even right now, I have no clue who's watching, and it's awesome. But we don't know what the impact is that it's going to have on their life. After we know what we believe that impact is going to be, But one of the things is just the fact of telling the truth, because that's what we know. We know that it's the truth that sets you free.
Yeah.
And
Truth
we
that
know
sets you free.
what the truth is. And what's great is in all these, we decide one thing that we want to do, and which this isn't, is to aim for content that is evergreen. One of the things that's amazing with many of the people that we love to listen to is that we can go back to the messages and hear it and repeat and repeat and repeat. And repetition is the motor of learning. And we got a bunch to learn. But we've been a lot more purpose-driven on our goals.
Yeah.
And
So explain evergreen, because not everybody understands.
evergreen is the fact that if you watch it today, tomorrow, or 5 years from now, it is still as valid and valuable. It's not, oh, that was just that one day or that 1 week. It's actually making sure that that content, how do you say it?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain some stuff in English.
No, I think it's really also that it's not our opinions, and Caleb makes me very clear that I shouldn't share my opinions, because my opinions have to change. Our opinions aren't perfect. That's something I heard a man of God say. He said, every time I read the Bible, my doctrine changes, and it should, because we have to align our doctrine with the Bible, not the Bible with our doctrine. But I love it that, as Caleb said, there's people we listen to, and it doesn't matter when you listen to them. It's like, it's always now. And it's something that I learned from one of our pastors, Pastor Billy Joe Dorothy. It's just like, he shared that he believed God for a word for everybody in his congregation. And we joined the church. There may have been 2,000 people, but before he went to heaven, there were tens of thousands of people. That he believed that God would give him a word for every single person, and it would be a word for now. And it's like, that was quite shocking when I first heard it. But we can be in the airport, or I can walk into a church I've never been in, and someone will come by and they say, oh, my wife listens to you all the time, and I when I'm having breakfast, I listen to you too. And it's so encouraging. And it's like, yes, we reached our goal. We want to encourage. And I believe that, well, it's our phrase, encouragement is the oxygen of the soul. And we need that encouragement because, as my wife says, you're unique. You can do things that no one else in the world can do. And one thing we've realized, and we've seen now, the people we've been able to reach are now reaching people that we'll never meet. I'll say that again. We realize that the people we've been able to reach with the gospel, with the word of God, they're now reaching people that this side of heaven will never meet. And as Caleb said, and I think it's really strong in our heart, we don't know who's watching us. And I think we should all be very aware of that. We have to live for God and live upright and be careful what we say, because we don't know who's watching us and who's listening to us. But it could be the difference between life and death. So, and which becomes very serious, but that's why we spend a lot of time laughing and having fun, because life is so serious. But a merry heart does good like a medicine. So we try and keep what we say really light-hearted.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. And we laugh a lot between us as well. And usually when we're preparing in the morning, so we get up pretty early because our live is at 7:15. But one of us is singing and one of us is laughing about something, and there's just a lot of joy. And I think that's important, because Jesus, one of the things that Jesus said he left us, he'd leave us his joy. So, I mean, we've had the great artists painted Jesus as a very miserable person on the whole. There are very few that ever put any joy, but he promised us his joy. And I think that is something that we liked coming through everything we do. A merry heart does good like a medicine. I mean, there's just nothing better than having a good laugh. I mean, a really good laugh and rejoicing. And it's one of my favorite epistles is the epistle to the Philippines, and Paul just keeps going on. He says, rejoice in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. And he just keeps going, and I say it again, rejoice. And then he says, rejoice. And I think it's so important, and we have so much reason to be joyful because Jesus has made a way for us. Heaven is waiting for us, and we can take people with us.
Okay. So What are you excited to about tomorrow and about this trip? What are you expecting? What are you looking forward to personally?
Yeah, personally, well, I'm always excited to go to the States because we get to see some of our partners, some of our very close friends, some we see just once a year, but especially because we get to share what God has done. And one of the most exciting things that we've been seeing all through this last year is in almost every church we get to preach in, I give a
Excuse
call.
me. Your question is, what are you excited about doing while you're in the
Yeah,
States?
I'm saying that. I'll
Yep.
get that. Yeah, but is that I'm going to be able to share with people that in every church, people are coming to the Lord. And there's nothing more exciting to me than that. And then I go up afterwards, however many people. When the church the other day was 250 people, which is a very large church of France. And one man lifted up a hand, so I went and talked to him. He said, "Oh, it's my second time in church." And I said, "So you've never invited Jesus into your life?" He said, "No, this is the first time." And I said, that is so exciting. I get to share that with people. I think I'm expecting to rest some because it's very busy. It's very intense. Traveling, ministering. We tend to minister over a long weekend, so it's great to get away and not be ministering. I'll be speaking once, as far as I know. Leading a session of 50 minutes, but I'll only probably speak 15 minutes of those 15 minutes because I'm going to get people interacting. It's always a joy to go back to America. I just love the generosity of Americans. I love that. Going into a different culture, it reminds me of many things. We've learned to appreciate every culture. We absolutely love that God called us to France. But it's always good to go back to America. And then to see my wife in her element. Because we do believe that it's part of our call is to stir other people up to missions. And so we'll be able to do that quite a bit as well. And being the old-timers. Because we've been on the mission field 40 years now, we see these young people who are starting out or have been on the mission field maybe 5-10 years. And it's just lovely to know that we can encourage them, tell you, it's worth holding in there because it's pretty tough, especially at the beginning when you're dealing with so many different cultural things. And
it's not tough now?
It's not the same now. I think
there's still challenges. You can't say that there
always be challenges. The challenges change as well with time. But I think we've definitely had a major breakthrough these past years. And
believe for more.
And believe for much more, because obviously we want it to multiply. Seeing churches in France multiply across the French-speaking world, seeing audiobooks, multiply and reaching more and more. We're almost at 4 million listens to our audiobooks. And that is absolutely thrilling, because when people have questions, they say, well, listen to this book. And I know how good they are because I listen to them all the time as well. And then another story of one of our graduates, he and his wife just graduated. He was in class and he heard God speak to him. He was a professional, how do you say videographer? Yeah, videographer. Was traveling, doing music videos for all sorts of people across the world. And he was in class and God said to him, I want you to write children's books. And if you look at him, you go, he's a rapper. He's a big guy. And he started writing books, and he's already published 6. And now he goes into churches and holds kind of seminars, and is just stirring people up for children's ministry that was totally left in France. The mentality was a child can't get saved, so there's no point teaching them. So basically, we're just going to keep them out of the parents' hair so the parents can receive the word. And that's been changing, but his books are just amazing. He's done the first series on the fruit of the Spirit. They're just absolutely wonderful. And as I said, it thrills our hearts to see people doing things that first we couldn't do, but God didn't call us to do.
Cool.
Yeah. And what are you excited about?
Having quiet time.
He's excited that I'm leaving. And
so excited.
I won't be bothering him every single day with new ideas and new things to do. And can you do this?
No, it's having time to prepare, get things ready. Also trying to figure out how to do the next steps on what we're doing, especially when it comes to the live production, and how to get the message out even better. There's also, when it comes to partnership, figuring out other ways of doing it, because we haven't been the best at it.
No.
But we're also believing for more and more French partners.
Yeah.
The things we're ministering in the French-speaking world, and we're aiming to grow in that, in all aspects. And the world is changing, it's shifting. Before it was America sends out missionaries, it sends out for the missions, and we need that to change. There's a mentality shift that is happening, and it's exciting.
It is exciting.
Also, sometimes it's good to slow down a little bit. It's like the whole time you're gonna be gone, we're still gonna be having videos go up, messages go up. The only thing is that when you get back, we're gonna have a full new setup, and new layout, and be able to actually film from any corner of this room is my goal, and with the actual whole room. It's good.
Yeah, so you have to know. So Caleb's been slave master, so making me record all the things.
Slave master?
No, I'm just kidding.
That sounds so
so
harsh.
bad, doesn't it? It's so bad. It's the word that came in my head.
Oh my days.
Because when we're away, I mean, when I first started doing these, I would do them on the road, so in hotel rooms and in friends' homes, and the sound wasn't good, the lighting wasn't good, the connection, the internet connection wasn't good. I don't think we lost any of them, but they weren't so good. And Caleb put his foot down and said, "Dad, this isn't acceptable." And he made everything so much better anyway here. Sound, lighting.
Also, we wanted that when you were away, you could focus on what you needed to do while you were away.
I was going
for
to
that
say
purpose.
That. Also, because when we were in the hotel room, I'd get Laura up and she'd have to be sitting in one side of the room if she wasn't doing it with me. But it really wasn't fair because we did them early, always do them early in the morning. So we've recorded a lot. And I always record them as though I'm speaking to the person that day, because for me it's that day. Today is the day of God's favor. Today is the day of salvation. Today is the day of God's favor. But yeah, Caleb will like the fact that it's peaceful here. Though he'll be working with the international directors meeting, because they always get him. I mean, he's been coming the last few years, but he'll be working with them for their online, for the directors and their assistants.
That's gonna be interesting.
Their team who can't come. He's just such a blessing. I mean, I've just seen him grow so much in his ability and his wisdom. I mean, it's wonderful to see your son become wiser than you are, and his abilities and things that I have no idea how to do. And I'm thrilled. I love it, because there's so many things I don't know how to do. People have always thought Laura and I are so multi-talented, but in fact, we just work very hard on what we're good at. So we look very good at it. But Caleb is so multi-talented, and I have him come now and talk to different pastors and share with them how they can do things better. And what I love about him, he keeps things really simple, and he keeps things really inexpensive. Because often people share how to do this, and then they give a budget that's just unbelievable. Well, and I don't think it helps anybody.
You have to have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
And so many people stop themselves because they say, we don't have this budget, we don't have this, or we don't have that. And it's start with what God has already given you, and then little by little grow it up.
Yeah.
And it's just scaling it with where you're at, and with what is possible nowadays. It's just amazing what we can do. And we're just going to keep on growing and moving forward.
Yeah.
But we do need to say goodbye, because
probably
because you have a flight to catch in a few hours.
Yeah, we're getting up at 4 tomorrow morning, leaving 5. We've got 3 flights. But thank you for listening.
For those of you who watch afterwards, we love you. We're thankful for you. If you watch till the end and you would like to partner with us, there are links in the descriptions that you can click on. And maybe at some point we'll become more structured on what we do when we do in English, but that time's not right now.
No, we're just having fun. So
thank you all.
We bless you, we love you, and do what God's called you to do. That's the most joyful we can be, I think. And until next time, blessings.
Goodbye. I'll see you soon. Or not. God bless you. I
Blessings.
love you. Bye-bye. We're kind of cute.